Have you ever found yourself stuck in one of life's storms? And no matter how hard you try, no matter what you do, it seems that you can't make any headway.
So many times the storms in our life, we didn't prepare for them, we didn't plan for them, we didn't ask for them, we didn't even cause them, they just suddenly happen.
I still believe that things can turn around for me. I still believe that this is not my final position. I still believe that my family can get better. I still believe that if I lose this job, there is another job for me. Still believe that my marriage is not over. Turn to your neighbor and say, you got to keep your hope.
Sometimes you have to go through something to really get your insight, to find out who you really are, to find out what you really got, to find out that you're tougher than you thought you were, to find out that you can do more than you thought you could do. Through my eyesight, I connect with that which is around me, not that which is within me. If I look around me, I see circumstances. If I look in me, I see hope. So sometimes in order to really get your focus, you have to shut down your eyesight to build up your insight. Shut your eyes to what you see and turn on your insight to what you believe. You can't help victims when you see yourself as a victim. You have to announce your recovery to yourself. You gotta command yourself, get up out of this hospital bed and start to moving.
Clarity. Because when you get in a storm, you become real clear of what matters and what does not. When you get in a storm, you're not trying to say, oh my God, let me get my Gucci bag. No. When you're in a storm, you get clarity as to what matters. Your priorities come into view when you're in a storm.
As a man thinketh in his heart. Where you talk to yourself, that's your heart. That's the meeting place where you are reasoning with yourself. That's where you sit down and say, well, let's see now. Can I do this? Can I not do it? Can I really do this? That's where you're having meetings with yourself.
That's a powerful thing to understand because you weren't born this way. You weren't born doubting. You were born perfect. You were born believing you were going to do something great. You were born happy. You were born believing you were going to do something special with your life. As a baby, I promise you, you had no negative self-talk. You had no negative self-doubt. These are external sources. So important to know because those thoughts aren't really who you are.
Be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts. People say, well, I was just thinking it. Well, you don't realize how important the thought is. The power of your mind, the power of your thoughts has tremendous ability to shape your life for good or for bad.
Sometimes when we compare ourselves to others, we put ourselves down so much that we don't find power to invest in ourselves.
And if you accept the thought, growing up, somebody said to you, you're worthless, you're no good, you don't matter, you're ugly, you're uncoordinated. If you accepted that fact, whether it was right or wrong, it shaped your life.
And you're back to the same place that you were. And you wonder why you're not being successful. It's easier downhill than it is uphill. It's quicker downhill than it is uphill. And so what happens is, we have a lot of good uphill days, but we have a few downhill days, and the few downhill days cancel out all the uphill days.
I think so many people out there think that they're cursed, or that they're got bad luck, or that they're their life is detrimental, when really it's all a perspective shift. So I want you guys tonight to take some time today, and I want you to think about things that you've experienced in life that you thought were curses, that were really life's workings for you.
Managing my mind is actually the key to peace and the key to happiness. An unmanaged mind leads to tension. A managed mind leads to tranquility. An unmanaged mind leads to conflict. A managed mind leads to confidence.
You can't go uphill without self-discipline. Nobody will carry you uphill. Nobody can coach you uphill. If you go uphill, you got to do it yourself. There are no free rides uphill. There's no such thing as accidental achievements.
An unmanaged mind leads to stress. If you don't manage your thoughts, you just let them go all over the place. You don't ever even try to control your mind and the way you direct your thoughts. You're going to have an enormous amount of stress in your life. But a managed mind leads to strength and leads to security and leads to serenity.
And that's how you should dream. You should dream outlandish dreams. If it's in your imagination, it's possible. Do you know that you can't think of something that can't happen? You know it's impossible to think of the impossible. It's not possible. So if you think it, it's possible. And if you live your life in possibilities instead of probabilities, you have a greater chance of finding happiness.
There's things in your life that are necessary, but they're unpleasant. Working out my legs is necessary, but it's unpleasant. Why is it necessary? Because it's the largest muscles in your body. See, what you learn is it's this thing called unintended consequences. You don't know what type of fight you gotta face on Tuesday. You don't know what your boss is gonna come and say on Friday. But thank God you've been putting in some work on the interior life that when you need to fight, you got some strength.
I'm the kind of person, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in. I'm the kind of person, I don't like being in between. I don't like to be at the back of the line. I want to be in the front of the line, and I'm going to prepare myself and work on myself to be a dominant voice. Take no prisoners, and like Mike Tyson, eat the wounded, starting at the ears.
Carefully consider how you live. So live wisely, not foolishly. Make the most of your time, because these are difficult, evil days. You need to have a routine. Now, when you're stuck at home, it's so easy to slip into sloppiness. I want you to write this down right now, okay? Write this down. Routine develops resilience.
I've been riddled with self-doubt. That creeps up all the time in our lives. Am I enough? Am I good enough? Do I deserve this? These are two of the most chaotic things that the adversary can do to us, or that we do to ourselves in our own minds, is to get ourselves doubting, to get ourselves discouraged, because you can't win when you doubt, and you can't win when you're discouraged.
So if you can't control something and you can't get control of it, you have to at least embrace what you can. There's only so much you can do, and you cannot completely eliminate it. But you can't control it, so why are you going to worry about it? Why are you going to stress about it? If there's something that's completely beyond your control, you got to detach from it and not let yourself get stressed about it.
Dreams without goals remain dreams, just dreams, and ultimately fuel disappointment. Dreams without goals, yearly goals, life goals, daily goals, monthly goals, hourly goals, goals on the road to achievement cannot be achieved without discipline and consistency. You understand?
Someone's gonna get the candy in life. There's always candy in life. That piñata eventually always breaks down. Do you want to be the person who was there in the beginning, hitting as hard as you could and sacrifice it and never get the candy? Or are you going to get something for your pain? Are you going to get something for your effort? Are you going to get something for this sacrifice you're making? You got to get something for this pain. You got to stick in the game until the candy comes out, and then we all get to celebrate. I promise you there's going to be a payoff for you.
The big challenge is to make something out of each opportunity. Now, if winters are always going to occur in our life, shouldn't we benefit from them too? Come the next winter, you could be on the inside looking out, seated by a warm fire, the company of a good friend, and those unique feelings of security in spite of the circumstances or the season.
Happiness is freedom from the negative children of fear, such as worry, low self-esteem, envy, greed, anger, resentment, and so on. Happiness is an awareness and a grasp of the positive power of life and loving values. It is an order of thought, activity, and lifestyle. Happiness is values in balance. It is contact with people of substance.
There's another dimension, which is trait conscientiousness, which is integrity and dutifulness, orderliness, industriousness, openness, which is like a hybrid between intelligence roughly, and creativity. And so you can go there and find out how you compare to other people, and that's kind of interesting and useful, because it's kind of useful to know who you are, and to know that that's actually who you are, you know, that you have a nature.
If you've had a dream, I guarantee you were born with that dream woven into your DNA. You see, dreams are deeply personal. That's why you can be super little and be drawn to something like being a lawyer and have no explanation for why. And this is important for you to understand, because if you give up on your dream's gonna haunt you.
You have to be honest with yourself and truthful with yourself. And I think a lot of times what it is for me, I was expecting things from people that I wasn't giving to people. And so that's very selfish, you know? So I had to look at myself and say, you know what, this part of my personality needs to be changed, it needs to be fixed. So it's that reality that you have to have with yourself, and that truthfulness, and not knowing that it doesn't make you weak by admitting these things. It doesn't make you less by admitting these things.
Begin to know now that the night will pass, and as you learn to grow and progress, you will better understand how to handle every night and better live every day. Don't be afraid to face the facts of life. It is not negative to understand that the winters always come. Don't clip the word impossible out of the dictionary. Don't say, I don't want to hear the problem. I don't want to see the difficulty. Don't show me the weeds. Don't say anything negative. Only see the positive. That's foolish. There is a thin line between positive thinking and kidding yourself. And remember, there's also a thin line between faith and folly.
Credit goes to our awesome patrons who make videos like this one possible. Consider joining them to support our work. You can also support us by subscribing to our channel and clicking the bell button to get notified when our new videos are released. And as always, thank you for watching.
Tough times never last, but tough people do. It's not there to stop you. It's only there to challenge you. You want to grow through it.
You can always do more. You always have another gear, another level of performance. You can always push a little bit harder, work a little longer. You have complete control over whether you get it or not.
I love me. So the day that you decide to stop loving me, I'm not gonna love myself any less. I believe in me. If you stop believing in me, I'm not gonna believe in myself any less. If you believe that I'm irrelevant, because you think or believe that about me, it doesn't mean that I'm going to believe it about myself.
A person of character doesn't care if you discover their private life. If you are afraid that I may find out about your private life, you have no character. You are a character.
The day that you allow the opinions of the outside world to dictate the way you feel about yourself, it is the beginning of the end of you living a blessed and self-loving, secure life.
Friend, listen to me loud and clear. Do not pick your friends that are enabling you. Pick some friends who empower you. Please don't enable me in my brokenness. Please do not enable my negative thinking. Please quit enabling my laziness. Please stop enabling my excuses. Please quit enabling me just going, that's who I am, I guess. I don't need to be enabled. I need some friends who will empower me.
Love yourself, believe in yourself, independent of the validation of the world. Have opinions and feelings about yourself, independent of the feedback. Why you gotta have somebody calling you beautiful every day in order for you to feel beautiful? Do you believe that you're beautiful, or do you only believe you're beautiful when other people say that you're beautiful? Self-love is the cure to self-hate.
A truly courageous person is not afraid of what might or might not happen next week or next year. He fears not making the most of every moment today. A truly courageous person fears making appearances more important than realities, making impressions more important than communication.
Expect things to get better for you, because they are. See, life is cyclic. You're not, whatever experience you're having right now, it has not come to stay. It has come to pass. Not to stay, just to pass. It's just going through. The biggest challenge is to know what's happening. This is a part of this thing we call life. This too shall pass. And maintaining perspective, putting it in perspective. How do we get stuck? A friend of mine working on a job, loved the company very much, expected to retire there. And one day they called him in the office, asked him for his badge and identification, told him he was fired and he had to leave then. He was devastated. And if you came anywhere near him, he will tell you his story, as we all have stories. Even when he got a job, he went on the job telling anybody who would listen how they fired him unjustly. And he always ended with, it wasn't fair. Life isn't fair. It's not fair that birds eat worms, and they do.
Don't deviate, don't procrastinate, don't become frustrated. All you have to do to win this battle is stay on track.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
In fact, we are often tormented by vision, because the visionary sees what shall be and wakes up to deal with what is. Means that you can't get to the destination just because you want it, just because you saw it, just because you like it, just because you need it.
You know, when you go into a service station to get gas, you don't go in there and just start pumping. When you push the lever up, it clears the previous bill. By the same token, if you want to begin to move, you've got to clear your mind of all the unnecessary luggage and baggage that's weighing us down. All of us have experienced some tragedy, and if we haven't, we will. Sometimes your life will be in a slump, and you can either let it destroy your life, or you can build upon it. I'm not going to let this destroy. You can permit it to let it hold you down, or you can decide, I'm not going to let that happen to me. I'm bigger than this. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Make a declaration to yourself. Declare all-out war that you're going to get out of this rut. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy. Work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Sometimes you have to back up and go within
and pray and meditate and recharge your batteries. Go away, clear your head, and then come back and look at it from a different vantage point.
Think about something that you'd like to have, or something you'd like to create for you or your family. I want you to hold this thought in mind. Now, one of the first things I want you to do is don't worry about the inner conversation that you're going to have. Don't worry about how you're going to do it. That's going to come. You're going to develop a plan of action. You will find the way. You'll become the kind of person that can attract the people, the resources, in order to make that become reality.
The discipline can seem like it's your worst enemy, but the reality is, discipline is your best friend, and it'll put you on that path. The path to strength and intelligence and happiness.
What is the vision for your life? What are the ideas and the dreams for your life? Who are you? What are your gifts and talents? What is your ultimate destiny and your goals? God will never give you something somebody else is supposed to have.
Negativity, you can protect yourself from negativity. And that's what stops most people, negative thoughts. You can coat your mind from negativity. It's a real simple exercise to do. I do it every morning before I walk out the door. So I walk out as a positive person. The way you can put a coating around your mind is with one simple thing: gratitude.
Passion gives us a great amount of energy, and when we have that passion, there's something about how we love what we're doing and we enjoy what we're doing, and passion energizes us. It's possible to be passionate about something that you're not gifted in. Hello? Let me explain. Have you ever watched the tryouts at an American Idol?
We can see that most people aren't as successful as they wish they were. Do you see there's a connection between these two very common phenomena? I hope you'll understand that it's in your best interests to take responsibility for everything you do.
You spend your life performing for a crowd, it'll kill you. And you're like, I'm good. I'm not a singer. I don't perform for people. It's gotten much deeper than that now. It's the feeling that we get when we start offering ourselves up in a form that is more impressive to people, but is not authentic to us.
See, when you're going someplace and you already know how much you're going to make, you already know how far you can go, you're in a dead-end position. It erodes your self-esteem. It lowers your sense of yourself. It creates an emptiness in you. So I say that your life is worth finding.
You have been disappointed over and over and over again. And every time you try, you come up short. And some of us have tried, got blocked. Tried, got blocked. Tried, got blocked. And I tried so hard and I still got looked over. And don't you know it's hard when your expectation has been damaged by disappointment? It's a slow damage. It's a slow tearing of the muscle fibers.
The day that you start living your life according to everybody else's opinion is the beginning of the end.
Your problem is every time you step out, you have yoked yourself up to people that you have no business being yoked up to, and your life is going in zigzags. Why is it I'm back here again, this time like I was last year? I should have overcome that. I should be further. I should be stronger.
Most of y'all don't actually know your self-worth. You don't know your self-value. So you're like a vulnerable little child. You're shaking, and it's like, everybody loves me this week, so I love me this week. Next week, it drops. So now you're running around insecure and not loving yourself, sad and depressed, based on the feedback, the responses, and the energy that the rest of the world is giving you.
But have you ever considered the reason why you're going in circles is because you never stop to consider, have I ever checked my circle? Someone say, check your circle.
Don't be so obsessed with them. Be obsessed with your own reality TV program called Your Own Life, right? How about the news? All the time they're trying to distract us. I'm not saying don't know about them, but it's such a convenient escape from the work. What it takes to win is not worrying about all that stuff. That should be the background noise.
How do we increase our self-esteem? You have to begin to fortify yourself. I believe that you have to begin to consciously monitor your inner conversation and start talking to yourself. Start building yourself up. Sometimes the only good things you will hear about you are the things that you say to you.
It's something in me that says, I need to do this. So that's the first voice. But we've trained ourselves to ignore this voice and listen to the second voice that I believe is a collection of the average society. It's what we learned. It's the practical voice, the should voice. Whenever you say I should do, where are you getting that from? What society says. Well, we forget society's kind of crazy. It's like, why are we using them as the bellwether that we should get our advice from, right?
52 is the age at which a man's philosophy is fully formed. But it's okay to run a little behind schedule as long as you recognize it and do something about it. And you don't need volumes of books or the library in order to create a personal philosophy. You can do that anywhere. You can do it right here.
So this first voice goes, I think we should do this. And we go right to this voice that says why we shouldn't. So for instance, there's many people that feel guilty about something. If you actually go to your heart, you can understand at a true level why you could have done something like that. Everyone can. But what causes our pain is trying to get society to understand why we did something. But the collective society isn't at a consciousness where they've forgiven themselves for anything. So there's a lot of judgment you'll look at in yourself if you look at yourself through society's eyes.
The truth will set you free. The truth will stand, and the truth will deliver you from procrastination and laziness and the downward spiral that comes with a lack of discipline.
Character is the dedication to a set of standards. What are your standards that you've set for your life? I will never violate my standards. You got to say that every day. I do not tell lies. That's a standard.
So don't believe the lies, believe the truth. And the truth is, you have time. You have the skill, you have the knowledge and the discipline to get it done.
Yet in life, outside of that one area, most of us are worried about suffering. We're afraid of it. When we're suffering and sacrificing, we wonder whether it's worth it. We wonder whether we're supposed to. We wonder whether sacrifice or setbacks or suffering is a sign it's not our real dream, don't we?
If you really want to develop the power of positive thinking as a habit, as a lifestyle, as a strategy for success, then decide right now to find something to appreciate from any seemingly negative person or situation, and develop the habit of giving compliments.
See, at the gym, you'd never think, oh, I'm going through some pain and discomfort. This must be a sign I shouldn't be at the gym. You'd never think that. It goes with the territory. Everyone knows this. Build a bicep or a tricep or a chest or legs. You have to break it down, suffer and sacrifice for it to grow. The indication of the pain and sacrifice and sweat. Don't you feel better at the gym? So in that area, we all know to the extent we suffer and sacrifice is to the extent we grow. And your body is a metaphor for the rest of your life.
See, if you really want to have some more positive feelings in your life, you got to keep focusing on what's right. You got to get curious. And most importantly, you got to find something to appreciate even in the tough times. Because in reality, as we've talked about so often before, the toughest times in your life sometimes provide you with the real resources to change your life.
That peace that we're after lies somewhere beyond personality, beyond the perception of others, beyond invention and disguise. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form.
What's the one thing that keeps you from becoming who God made you to be? What's the one thing that keeps you from using your shape? Write it down. Fear. That's the word. It's fear. It scares you to become somebody that other people may not understand.
Risk being seen in all of your glory. Our eyes are not viewers. They're also projectors that are running a second story over the picture that we see in front of us all the time. Fear is writing that script, and the working title is, I'll never be enough. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun.
If you make it to the end of this video, I want you to write, self-love is the cure to self-hate. These are the type of qualities that I'm going and have been instilling in my daughter. Nobody wants to be alone. But if you show up empty, as an empty shell, and you're expecting this man to fulfill you, because as soon as he leaves, you're depleted, you're empty, and you have nothing left for yourself again. Never rely or depend on anybody to fulfill your heart.
These thoughts that we have, we think they're our thoughts, so it makes it really hard to change them. When people meditate, try to not think thoughts. Show me somebody who's done that successfully, consistently. Is it bullshit? Right? Everybody, the mind thinks thoughts. But here's the distinction. If I told you 100 years ago, we're going to fly to the moon and back, you would call me a lunatic. That's where the term comes from. People still use it, and it doesn't make any sense, because a lunatic is somebody who thought we'd go to the moon and back, and we've done it, right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where the term comes from. That's where it comes from. But if I would have told you 100 years ago that there's going to be a box in your pocket, and you're going to pull this thing out, you're going to hit a couple buttons, and then it's going to capture invisible waves that are drifting around the earth and bring the waves in, and you're going to see somebody on the other side of the earth, and you're going to talk to them, you're totally nuts. Thoughts are those invisible waves. And when you use your body in a certain way, if I sit like this, I'm going to tap into a different channel of those waves than if I'm sitting like this. Kind of like a TV set. If I turn one channel, it might be a comedy channel. I'm going to see a lot of laughter. Turn another one, it's a horror channel. Turn another channel, it's a romance channel. This is what changes which of those waves you touch in. So if you can start to realize that your thoughts that you think are your thoughts, there's nothing unique about your thoughts. They've been around for thousands of years. You're just tapping into them because of what you're doing with your body that makes you either fearful or passionate or courageous or whatever you're feeling. As you go in those states, you get different thoughts. So what I want people to see is that learn how to just see those thoughts go by. Learn how to be entertained by those thoughts. Because I have crazy thoughts, but what I've gotten good at is going, look at that crazy thought. That's not me, that's the mind. Not your mind, because if it's you, how do you change you? Pretty hard. But I really truly know I haven't heard a thought come out of you that's original. You've called them your thoughts, but they're not. You've stolen them. They've been around forever. When you see that, it's easier to let go of them. And letting go of those thoughts is one of the ways that you free yourself. And again, the more you do it, just like a muscle, you get better and better and better. And all of a sudden, the shit that used to make you crazy or stressed out, or how many things have you worried about that never came to be? And some people, their life is good, so they worry about other people, so they're never not worried, right? So it's really just a pattern. If you want wealth, real wealth is not just money, it's emotion. It's like, what are we really after in money? You don't want money. You don't want pieces of paper with the pictures of deceased notables on it. You want what you think money will give you. You think it'll give you freedom or security or stability or love. It won't give you love. It'll get you sex. It won't get you love. Money won't, right? So really what you're after is the emotion. And so what I want people to get is the emotion they want now. And all it is a new habit. It's learning to discipline this mind, right? By realizing the mind thoughts are out there, and letting them float by and constantly coming back to what can I love about this? What can I appreciate? It's like, if you can learn to love or at least appreciate, start to enjoy the things that you used to get upset about, how much freedom would you have? How much more joy would you have? And I know people who got billions of dollars, I've coached them, who was like, holy shit, they live in scarcity all the time. One man, I'll never forget, he's screaming at his wife. I'm in the meeting, I'm in the house, and he's screaming at his wife because she spent some money on a bunch of outfits and stuff like that. And he's a multi-billionaire. He couldn't spend all his money in his lifetime, and then he's totally upset at his daughters in her 20s who spent some money too. And I'm like, I pulled him aside afterwards and I said, what do you do this for? And what do you do it for? And he's like, well, it's the principle thing. I said, no, the principle thing is, do you love these people and do you want them to have an abundant life when you don't have one loss, but you live like you're poor, you know? And it's like, I finally got through to him. But so many people, that's why I say money doesn't change you. Money magnifies who you are. So you want to expand the depth of who you are and free yourself from suffering by just knowing it's a pattern of thought, and you can change the pattern of thought.
the fascinating opportunity that we have now is that the ability to define new values, to distribute goods, to make decisions has never been greater, right? Technology allows us to measure things in such more intricate ways. Like, if you can imagine in the past, someone says, let's make a decision other than money. It's like, okay, well, what are we looking at? What are we counting here? It's hard to say. But in the book, I give an example of Adele, the pop star Adele. She goes on tour. When her tickets go on sale, they immediately get bought by scalpers, and then people have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars more. Adele found this startup that had built an algorithm that would measure how loyal a fan was to her as an artist. It analyzed their listening data, whatever, and allowed her to invite the top 20 percentile Adele fans in each market, offer them a ticket for $50. They could resell the ticket if they want, and the show's still, Adele made money. But the idea was that for maximizing for this loyal communal value set, that there would be a different kind of experience. And in 1970, the percentage of incoming college freshmen who said being well off financially was essential or very important was just 28%. Just 28%. That year, the #1 life goal was to, quote, develop a meaningful philosophy on life. 84% of students said that was essential. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? The most recent year the study came out, 2017, the biggest life goal among college freshmen, to be rich. 82% say that is essential. Less than half say that having a philosophy on life is essential anymore. And if you look at these numbers over 50 years, every year it's surveyed, 50, 60 million students have taken this. Like, every value is flat. Like, having a family stayed the same. Being creative stayed the same. Being good at your job, those rates have stayed the same. It's this growth of being rich that has just really, it's shocking when you look at it. It's just like, just a straight up into the right line. So just our whole value system has really shifted dramatically. And, but you know, it's hard to recognize the water you swim in.
I think the fundamental step that everybody should be taking every day for many aspects of their health, mental, physical, digestive, immune, all of that, is to get 2 to 10 minutes of bright light first thing in the morning on waking. Ideally it's sunlight. You could do it through a window. If you probably shouldn't wear sunglasses while you do it. Don't stare at the sun until you burn your retinas out or something and make it painful. Please don't do that. But just getting bright light exposure first thing in the morning organizes the nervous system and the rest of the organs of the body in such a powerful way that I feel like if you do that most days, if you miss a day, no big deal. But if you do that most days, you're setting yourself on the path to do all the other sorts of things correctly, and your biology will thank you for it.
You know, we have coaches, and we have mentors, teachers. This coming Friday, we're all getting together via Zoom, and we're going to study Robert Kennedy Jr., you know, what he's saying about Bill Gates versus, you know, vaccine. I'm not a vax guy, you know, but we get together to study together. We're always studying. We study constantly. We read books together and all this. And when we have people, well, I'm not interested in studying, then you're not our friend. It's that simple. I mean, it's pretty clear. Just like in the Marine Corps, when we're at sea on a carrier, we have to run 4 miles a day, no matter what. So we get on the aircraft carrier deck and we take laps. Now, I'd rather go sit in the coffee room and smoke a cigarette and drink coffee. But my team ran together. So when we crashed, we were ready. And that's what leadership is. You have to bring people together and move them forward. It's really sad. A lot of days, there are days on missions, I stand on the deck and my friends don't come back. That's no return. They're missing in action today. And so those are the kinds of lessons where you test your soul. How strong is your soul? And we all have them. But most of us don't ever put ourselves in the situation where we're testing our soul. And we all have it. I know that. I've seen young men and women just get stronger and stronger and more resilient. What you're calling anti-fragile vitality. But most of those things are just buzzwords, glib buzzwords, Everybody, oh yeah, against the fourth turning and this crap and that crap. And then just show me the money. Show me your money, show me your team. Did this crash destroy you or did it make you better? So right now, I'm making money hand over fist for the same reason, prepared for it.
My advice to you on that is don't try to deny it. Your mind will always play from a position of safety, not excellence. And so acknowledge it, write it down and say, okay, this will never work. This is horrible. I suck. I'm not good. Write it down. But then open up another piece of paper and say, okay, I wrote down all the reasons that this might fail. Now let me write down all the reasons that this might succeed. And then take those two pieces of paper and look, and you choose which one you want to follow.